Well, Jhon Duran to Arsenal transfer inquiry has been made, and this is really one of the hugest stories that you'll ever want to get. And it was broken by who? It was broken by Fabrizio Romano yesterday night on his YouTube channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. And this is the channel that brings you your latest news and information as far as everything is concerned. And we're here to see to it that all really moves on well as planned. And guess what? We are also having a former Arsenal player known as Szczesny taking over at Barcelona. He's the chosen goalkeeper. And lastly, we are going to be talking about Pep Guardiola throwing in defense for Khusanov, a player that made his debut at Etihad, and it never really went on well as planned. Remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets, dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops. And if at all you really need a brand new phone and brand new laptop, call them on +256 70 9988 665. All else, you can as well go on TikTok and really search for them, and you'll see the vast range of products that they really have onto their display. And they also have what we call used phones and used laptops from the United Kingdom, right? And those are really also available. And they also have affordable smartwatches. The same number or the same contact you can use to see to it that all really goes on well as planned. So that is Mono Gadgets for you, and thank you for obviously being part of this video. And let's obviously talk Jhon Duran. Now, we all know to it that the list of players that Arsenal need, or the list of players that Arsenal have to choose on who is really going to be their next player or center forward this winter transfer window, is obviously protracting. From Szczesny to Cunha, Gyökeres to Vlahovic, Jesus Ego, and now we are on to a player known as Jhon Duran. Who is Jhon Duran? Before we even go to who broke the story and where it is, Jhon Duran is a 21-year-old Colombian international. That is it. And he was signed from Chicago Fire, and that is the United States of America, MLS League. That's where he was signed. And if at all you remember, Jhon Duran was wanted by Man United, Arsenal, Man City, and very many other clubs, and Aston Villa won the race. And it was known not only in the previous summer, but even in the summer of 2023, the January transfer window of 2023, the January transfer window of 2022, and the summer transfer window of 2022. When Man United was searching him to striker, I saw it being linked to Jhon Duran. And Jhon Duran made his debut for the club of Aston Villa in the season of 2022-2023. He played 12 games, scored 0 goals and 0 assists. Last season, 23 games, 5 goals and 0 assists. And this season, he has played 20 goals and he has played 20 games and he has 7 goals. That is it. 1.8 meters tall. He's that kind of player that has gonna obviously be wanted by very many clubs, and I'm gonna be bringing you a credible source from Court Offside, talking of those teams that have tried to obviously sign him, and they've gone ahead to fail, and they're all high-profile teams into the Premier League. Now, Fabrizio Romano yesterday night came up and told us that Arsenal made a call in recent weeks to understand the situation of Jhon Duran. Have you heard? Meaning that the urge for Arsenal, or the appetite of Arsenal to sign a centre forward, is growing each and every day. And now they are in for a player known as Jhon Duran, and they've gone ahead to make those. They made calls to Aston Villa to see whether the player is up for sale, and that means they also talk to his entourage, because they know to it that that's the process. Talk to the entourage of the player and see whether the player is willing to move. And if at all the player is willing to move, then you obviously go ahead and obviously talk to the club. But of all what we've gone ahead to see happening, the player wants to move. Why does this player want to move? Because he believes that at Aston Villa, he's not seen as a first choice center forward. And Ollie Watkins is one of those that is going to have to be considered into that first team of Aston Villa. Though this season, he has gone ahead to start more games, I think, than Ollie Watkins, and on merit, because he's one of those strikers that is really firing in goals. And I know he would have gone to score very many goals, but when he was really when he had hit form, he got suspended for, I think, were there 4 games, and he returned. And when he returned against West Ham, you saw to it that he went ahead, obviously, put that ball into the back of the net. And he played Arsenal and he came off the bench, if I'm not mistaken. So, what shows you that he's really wanting to move? Now, caught offside have also told us that Arsenal have made contact over signing Aston Villa's Jhon Duran. Chelsea have also held talks, while West Ham had a bid rejected earlier this January. Now, the moment a team puts in a bid, it's a confirmation that that team has gone ahead, obviously, agree personal terms with the player, and the player has given them green light that I would love to leave Aston Villa and obviously get to another club. Meaning that West Ham put in a bid of £59 million and it got rejected. So that means the player wants to leave. No doubt about that. The player wants to leave the club of Aston Villa. That is it. Then Chelsea have also held talks, meaning that these teams have sensed that there is something to happen, onto this guy, and the player and his management are pushing to leave the club of Aston Villa because they believe they are not appreciated enough, and they want to obviously see to it that all goes on well as planned. So Arsenal have made contact over signing Jhon Duran, and I tell you that now in my ranking, it's Matheus Cunha on top of the list. If at all I'm Arsenal, I would first and foremost go in for Matheus Cunha. If I fail to get in Matheus Cunha, I'd go in for Jhon Duran, and thirdly, Benjamin Sesko. Why? Arsenal needs Premier League proven players, and Matheus Cunha ticks all the boxes. Premier League proven, and he's a multi-dimensional player. He can play in different positions of the pitch. That is Arsenal for you. You understand? So, when it comes to that, I believe a lot will obviously be considered. And that's why I tell you, Cunha is for me the best candidate. £60 million, I think it's a bargain for Matheus Cunha, according to how he's really looking. And by the way, when you look at Matheus Cunha, I think for the previous 2 seasons, he has gone ahead of his outperform Jhon Duran, because last season, Cunha played 32 games, scored 12 goals and 7 assists. And Jhon Duran never had an assist last season and scored 5 goals in 23 games, meaning that Cunha outscored him. Even this season, Matheus Cunha has played 22 games, 10 goals and 4 assists. And Jhon Duran has played 20 games, 7 goals and 0 assists. So for me, that's why a player known as Matheus Cunha is on top of my list. And I know Arsenal will also go for him because of the qualities that he brings onto the table and his numbers that are really ascending, and he also has assists onto his name, meaning that he's a striker whose end product in being clinical and creating assists is really way above that of Jhon Duran. You get? Why do I put Benjamin Sesko in the 3rd position? It's because Sesko is that kind of player that is good but not Premier League proven, right? He's not Premier League proven, though I know he can easily fit in the Premier League. 31 games played last season, 14 goals and 2 assists. Then this season, 18 games, 8 goals and 2 assists. When you look at all that, I think Matheus Cunha is hugely ahead of that team, or that side of is hugely ahead of that team, known ahead of those players, and I think it will be something great for the club. So let's leave that story there, because I know it's really going to be gaining momentum, because it was broken by Fabrizio Romano and everyone has come up and obviously tried to jump on it. And I know it's really going to be one of those stories that most of you people will need or will pick interest in a lot. And I picked interest in it, and I know it's really going to be making rounds all over social media and on YouTube and different other aspects of life. Then we go to Szczesny. Szczesny had retired, and because Barcelona's goalkeeper known as Ter Stegen was injured, when Barcelona knocked on his door, I think towards the end of last year, he came up and obviously he really had to fight hard to get into the first choice position of Barcelona. And guess what? Szczesny has been chosen, is the chosen one at Barcelona. The goalkeeper debate is over. And this is Javier Miguel. Javier Miguel is working from Barcelona down there, and Katrina Radio, that's where he works in from. And I tell you, Szczesny has gone ahead to obviously be a goalkeeper of the other tournament, the King's Cup and Copa del Rey, and now in the Champions League games and the La Liga games, he's really the man in between the stitches for the side of Barcelona. When you look at the game that they went ahead to beat Villarreal by 7-1, Wesley Szczesny was in between the stitches. You understand very well. And when you look at the game of the Champions League that they played in the midweek, where they went ahead to obviously come and really beat Benfica by 5-4. Again, Szczesny was in between the stitches, meaning that if he can be in between the stitches for the Champions League and La Liga, no doubts about that. That means he's the chosen one goalkeeper. And Pena looks like he's really going to be a goalkeeper to be in the Copa del Rey, but Wesley Szczesny has gone ahead obviously seal that debate, and he's that number one choice goalkeeper for the club of Barcelona. And what a way things change from Juventus, being there for some good years, and he hung up his boots. After hanging up his boots, get what happened to him? It was a story. It was a call from his agent that, are you willing to obviously get back from retirement? And was like, all right, let me go to Barcelona and get my last dance. And I think he never really went there knowing that he's obviously going to be a regular, but from nowhere, he has gone ahead obviously be a regular. And I tell you, he's a very good goalkeeper. He has the experience that is needed by the manager of Barcelona, that his hands fling, and we all know to it that he is really good. Not elite when it comes to ball distribution, but shot stopping, and has those skills of really moving that ball around very, very well. So that is Wesley Szczesny for you, and congratulations for him, because Barcelona is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Now, after being the reason as to why Man City conceded in the opening minutes of the game when they're playing against Chelsea over the weekend, though they pulled one back and added two more to win that game by 3-1, or was it 4-1 or 3-1? The side of Pep Guardiola has come out and defended Khusanov on as to why he never really had the debut that he really wanted to have. He said Khusanov shouldn't have played. He had to take time. It's not easy against Chelsea in the Premier League from another country, not communicating much with teammates, arriving with no training to see what you want to do, the process. Imagine living what he has lived and what happened. Oh my God. That is my man known as Pep Guardiola coming up and obviously telling us that it's been one of the hardest moments that a player will ever be in. And I also really feel for him, because he was thrown into a lion of dens, and that is Chelsea. Chelsea is a very good team with quality players, and Khusanov really never made all that. But I know he's not leagueable to play in the Champions League game they're going to be playing tomorrow, I understand. But over the weekend, they are playing Arsenal. Is the manager going to start him again against Arsenal? That's what you're going to be waiting to see, whether the manager will be brave enough to start him. But I told you that everyone who is blaming this guy and going at him, then you haven't been here for a very long period of time. If you watch Nemanja Vidic and Patrice Evra get their debuts for the club of Manchester United, they are rostered they are rostered. But at the end of their careers in the Premier League, they were the best players in their positions in the world. And remember, Patrice Evra was was once the best left backs in the world. Nemanja Vidic was one of the best centre backs in the world. But if you are to roll it back and look at what the debut they had at the club of Manchester, and they really never looked good. Look at Gabriel Magalhaes. You understand? You know, it took him long to obviously fit in, and when he was partnered with Saliba, all went ahead to obviously move on well as planned. So I don't think that we should judge this player according to what we call his debut against Chelsea, but let's see to it that we count these first 6 months of his career at Man City as a pre-season. And I know he might pick up before this season ends, but I'm 100% sure by the start of next season, Khusanov will be one of those defenders that most of you will be talking about as being the best in the world. So guys, I sign out for now. See you later. And first video of the day, more is yet to come. Bye-bye.